Sorry, I'll go through that again. My bad. So just checking this replay real quick. Just going through the stats. So if you go to SC, no, is it drop SC? I think it's drop.sc. You pop your replay on there. Heaps of stats for you. Supply blocks, spending quotas and stuff like that. Spending quota tends to be inflated if you're not mining a lot in your game. So the lower your economy, the better it looks. Supply blocks, scores per minute, and then some insane stats like how many kills, like a chosen unit from each one, how many kills they got, blah 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 blah. Reveal the winner. It's Mateo. So the supply blocks are pretty even. So what we want to look at is make sure that we're looking at here and here. We're looking at units made, looking at our work account. You can also go workers active, and I can get rid of the army value, but I'd like to keep it on right now. And we can see here the work account's pretty even. At no point does the Zerg like super commit into making army. You know what I mean? It seems to be a bit of a windy road up, and then we take one bad fight and boom, it's all over. So with that being said, we are floating an absolute insane amount. If we look here where the lava is, we're floating a lot of lava for a lot of this early game. And we're probably floating it because we never got to an economy where we felt like, nah, we're floating. We're definitely floating. So moments like this, we probably need to be making workers before then. And yeah, we're kind of struggling to spend it for the rest of the game. And that reason is because our economy was so low. We never really got a chance for it to blow out, you know what I mean? Just adjusting my in-game sound, sorry. Oh, have I got music turned off? That's better. Now, traditional things is like a 17-17 hatch or something like that. Or a 15-15 with the extractor trick, to be dead set honest with you. I don't think it matters as much as just doing your build order and like being slightly efficient with it, right? You just need to be more efficient than your opponent. And so far, he's got the hatchery down. The hatchery was a little late, that's fine. But everything else looks like it's actually timed pretty well. Like it didn't change a lot of the basics, right? It might be a couple seconds out. But also bear in mind, this is like gold. He's gone for the SCV scout. He knows what's going on. Whether he understands it's a different story, but he knows what's happening. Are we getting our third drone on the gas? I don't know if we ever did. Standard time for that? Nah, we never did. Yeah, there we go. That's probably going to delay things a little bit. What is good is builds like the Clash, where you actually take off, I think it's about 60 gas, you actually take off two drones. One goes to natural, one goes to the third, in time for the Reaper to hit your side of the map. It looks like there is no Reaper here. This is going to be one of those games. Evo chamber, absolutely not. Link speed's not happening either. So the first 2.5 minutes were pretty stock standard, right? We've got lings across the map. I don't think we really need to have lings across the map. There's probably not much they're going to do. If anything, they probably get sacrificed for nothing. They're not going to get here in time to deny this. SCV might get killed, and then he just like floats up and walks away. He's very quick with that upgrade though. That was incredible for gold. Yeah, so the Marines are going to come down here and kill this. Taking that gas this early is so sus. That is incredibly sus. This to me would already make me think that this dude's going BCs. So we'll just keep that in the back of our minds. We've got a Roach Warren. We've got a bunch of queens here, but we're not getting injects done. in the main, which is a huge problem, right? We're missing out on a lot of lava here. We're not taking our third as well, which means we're going to be in trouble when it comes to... we didn't get link speed at all, did we? No. So we're pretty committed to the whole Roach thing, which is interesting. I respect it. I would love to see us have this base saturated before we start moving out, just so it's one less thing that we need to think about halfway through. This Roach attack should be pretty decent, honestly. I think it needs to stop at some point though, and just go straight into Soap Mines. Oh. Do we have... I think there's a massive issue with just not having 3 Ravagers. We have the money for it, we have the supply for it, and you'll see why it's such a big deal, right? The Lings get popped. Oh, the tank actually didn't do too bad. I feel like we had... maybe I'm overestimating because we've got Roaches still crossing the map. And we've got Roaches in production and Lings, slow Lings in production. Is that... Yeah, we've got slow Lings in production. I don't know if that's really what we want. I think this could have stayed back here and just peppered this with shots and forced him to come out. We didn't have to commit into this, especially not knowing what he had. This is enough Marines for us to be a problem, as we saw. It was a problem. But if we had that third Ravager, we could have biled it from over here and been fine to then just walk away. Oh, that was an incredible bile. Wow. that was not on my bingo card for this. Wow. The irony being though that this is a one game right here. He's not making anything. He has no gas. No, wait, I'm looking at the wrong dude. My bad. He has gas, but he's not making anything. What is he focusing on instead? And it is probably going to be... No, he is focusing on this. But yeah, this is a lost game right now. As far as I'm concerned, this is a lost game. We burnt one queen alive. That liberator... Oh, no, we didn't kill much because he pulled the drones. Beautiful. At this stage, I think this is your drone window. The damage you've caused here is pretty catastrophic, honestly, I feel. And you're about to get a lot more damage done. We need to get out of liberator range. Nah, I think we just probably... Yeah, we overstepped the mark there a little bit. That's a shame. And then we got into liberator range and that cost us too. That's a real shame. Because we were actually slightly ahead before that went down. Like a couple of hundred resources ahead. And now we're missing some Ravagers and we're not ahead. Where's this? Here we go. So the plus... I don't know if the +1 was really useful. I think having 1+ armor would have been better because in the Marines they just don't get anything done, man. Really cool attack though. I like it. I don't know if it's something you've found somewhere or something you've made up, but appreciate people definitely trying stuff out. We can see the liberator. I don't know, are we rallying across? Where is there? No, that's a good cleanup. Get out of... Yep, beautiful. We should be droning though. We really need to be droning during this. We're on his side of the map. We can see that his army has gone home to deal with what you're doing. This is when you need to hold the drone key down. You've got 8 lava in there, so you could be at like 48 drones, almost 50 drones. You could be almost taking a 4th base behind us as well. This is prime time for you to just like blow your expansions out and just go nuts with it. So, did we end up getting a lair? I don't think we did. This is going to be a problem though, because if we're just running around with like hatchery roach tech, we're going to be in some trouble. Yeah, and so what I talked about, right, there was no distinct point at which you were like heavily in droning or heavily making army. It was kind of, you were just doing a couple of drones and a couple of army the whole way up the scale. You kind of need to pick these moments where you're on his side of the map. So when you're on that, when you were on his side of the map, if you hadn't committed to going up this ramp just then and losing everything again, just pushing him back gives you the freedom to be able to make drones. And so right now you'd be on 50 drones, which would be a huge boost to your economy. You could be getting more gas, more minerals, whatever. So at this stage, like, you're still pretty ahead in most cases. You've got more army, you've got more APM, you've got more, yeah, just, you're ahead in everything. But obviously his army is a bit tricky for you to fight into. And without Ravagers, it's going to be hard for the Liberators. So this is perfect. We want to get in, we want to kill everything, and then get out as quickly as possible. Beautiful stuff. Another win, right? You're taking a fourth, fantastic stuff, but we still need drones, right? So everything is going kind of right, except we keep, no. So, right, we saw the tank blow up that roach without a problem. We don't need to keep pushing into this. We really don't need to keep pushing into this. He hasn't even got, he's got combat shields before he got stim. Absolutely wild. You haven't got a lair, so you haven't got any chance of getting roach speed anytime soon. We do not need to commit into this fight. If you had roach speed here and you had another couple of roaches, I think you probably have a good chance of winning this, but this is going to be a throwaway. Wait. Yep, throwaway. Absolutely throwaway. And it's moments like that that lose this games real quick, right? We just threw away like 1,000 resources, maybe killed a marine. That's it. Now we're really behind. You went from being ahead 30 supply or something to being behind, and he's coming across the map. Our drone count's finally getting to where it should have been at like 5 minutes, but it's just not enough. We never teched into the lair, which is absolutely killing us. Queen count, I think, is not bad. I like a lot of what's happening here. We just don't want to, we don't want to commit to a fight like that unless we have biles. So this should have been, especially since you can see him, right? You can see him moving around on the creep. You can see where he's rotating to. What we want to do is we want to engage. We want him to pull back. When he pulls back in here, we pull everything back as well. Ravagers have pretty good range too, right? It's like 5 or 6, so I think it still hits Marines and Marauders from a good range. So we can use them to kind of keep him at a bay without him being able to pick off units as if we had Ling Bane, right? So we've used our biles up. We don't want to go back to this again, and then we come in straight away and we bile this down and we crush it. It's a shame we didn't have... No, we do have the corrosive bile after, so we didn't actually use all the biles properly, and this is going to be what's going to cost us here. We've got queens with a ton of energy. There's probably like 6 or 7 transfuses here. We do get some off. He starts pushing this back. We forget about the transfuse a little bit. The roaches down here, these roaches are not committing to the fight at all. They're just sitting in a corner getting confused. When they finally get in, still not quite enough. A handful of transfuses there would have been absolutely great. We didn't lose a base. We kind of just lost army. He's actually behind on you're behind on resources lost, but your economy is a lot better, right? So even though it's just a very small amount, your economy is better. I think at this stage you can probably go straight into trying to max out. Holy shit, you took this base too. Just try to max out. Please get road speed. We still don't have a lair, so there's no follow-up plan here. You build a second Evo chamber and then got +1 carapace. So I don't know if you know this or not, but you don't actually need to build 1 Evo chamber per upgrade. You can just research it off the same one. We're taking the gases. we don't have the economy to support 6 gases really, and we desperately need to get a lair going, like really desperately. We crossed the map here. We haven't got roach speed as well, so they're not very fast. And we don't know where he is. We finally get a lair, an 11-minute lair. And we're all the way over here. We're like 30 seconds from coming back here. These should get pulled immediately over to here or to here to keep them safe. And then it's business as usual. Oh, amazing. Legitimately amazing. I'm worried. Yeah, we're regrouping our army as well before we go in. It's a lot of Marines, man. Oh, these biles are probably better than some of the diamond level biles that I see and the plat level biles. I don't know whether you're using these things a lot, but I feel like you have a really good instinct for where the range of the Ravager ends and what you can get away with. Like, all things considered, man, besides the fact that this is a shit ton of Marines and you have no AoE besides biles, this is strong. This is strong, but you're only like 20 supply ahead in army, and army's not super important here when Marines just blast things down. So here we can use biles to kind of force his movement somewhere where he doesn't want to be, or we can force him to disengage completely. So you could have gone bile and then done like bile here, anticipating him moving over, or you could have done bile and then biled off this section here, or like bile and then bile here to force him back. You know what I mean? Like, you can use the biles at this level as well. Like, they're not going to split, they're just going to grab their whole army and move it the quickest direction to get out of the way. So if you ever have a situation like this and you have more army coming in from this side and you want to get a real good surround on it, then by all means, like, bile and force him to come over here. But we probably don't want to put all our biles down at the same time, because then we end up losing them all. And this army right here, right now, is ripe for biles. We still have a lot of biles, but we've got Queens off creep, we've got Roaches running into double tank. We're just not killing anything here. The medevacs are doing wonders here, and we're just dead. That's it. This is kind of why you need to have like Lingbane or Infestors or Lurkers or something to deal with this. Marines are just a unit that, when it's massed, is incredibly painful to deal with. And now we're at this stage where he's just like parade marching across. It's well and truly over. GG, well played. I respect it. Well done. That's a hell of a lot of Marines, my man. So let's go back to a couple of real quick points. Your game did open... Oh, I've gone forward, not back. Your game did open a little awkward and weird, right? Oh, I guess that doesn't work. Can I have a timeline? I guess I just have to do like one button at a time until we get to... Yeah. We didn't lose these, right? No, we must have. We lost 3 of them. Interesting. So he wanted a tech heavy push, gone for the like double liberator and into the double medevac. That's why he wanted the gas. So he could have afforded a BC. He just didn't. Right? We've got a lot of issues. We're not having link speed. I feel like is a real problem here. The +1 and the super late layer cost us a lot, right? Because we want our roaches to be just able to get on top of his army quickly. If you have enough roaches, you have just the power of just brute forcing your way through your opponent. And unfortunately, with our roach speed, it's a real slow process. We also don't have a lot of map vision. Just one more time, I just want to see these bars because these did amazing. And as I said, like, this is like literally 3 Marines. If you turn, well, you can't turn into a Ravager now, but I think if you head back and you put this Roach to the back, let the 2 Ravagers run in first, I think this is solid to just win the game here. What we don't want to do is exactly what he's done, right? This is a classic move, right? If you feel like your opponent's army is good enough to kill you, but not good enough to kill a whole bunch of workers and your army, then you want to lure him into a position like this, where you can bring down your workers, and now you've got him exactly where you want him. And this, like, he cleaned that up so quickly, and only 1 worker died, and I think it's the worker that died at the start anyway from the 6lings, so that was an incredibly easy cleanup for him. Whoa. Now, I probably spent a lot of time staring at that myself. With the Liberator did come in here, the Overlord Vision's sick. We see it coming. I don't know, we probably didn't really react. He let us react by doing that. And the Queens kind of took care of it by themselves. And we're just kind of making drones. We could be making more drones, right? A lot more drones here. Because a handful of Queens, this will stop his push. And your Lings as well, right? So we get lucky here a couple of times where we catch him mid-map and just kind of just stomp what he has, take a good trade, and he has to go home. Any second that he goes home, you could probably just drone up. There are circumstances where it's not okay if he's 2-1-1ing and stuff like that, but that's not going to happen to you for a little while. So feel absolutely free to drone up. If your opponent's at home, drone up. If you know for sure they're home, drone up. If you have forced them to go home because you have deflected an attack or something, drone up. Before you know it, you'll get comfortable enough that you'll be at like 90 drones by 8 minutes, and you'll have so much money that you'll be maxing out every couple of minutes, and the games are going to get a hell of a lot easier from there. I love that we pulled all the Queens and stuff. I wish we got some we were so close to losing these Queens. A creep spread here just to help connect these 2 bases real quick would be amazing. You've got plenty of health on these ladies as well, so even a creep tumor here and a creep tumor here to start spreading it out in the other directions would be fantastic. But the main thing is just we need to get into a lair quicker than this, and we need to get into like a 60 drone economy as quickly as we can. We did kind of half commit into this, didn't we? Yeah, we fully committed into this. And this is the problem, right? You didn't have Roach speed, so you probably felt like you couldn't get away, and that's why we need to get Roach speed quickly, right? If you have a ZvZ and you're the Roach player without Roach speed, you can't really be on the map unless you know for certain you have way more than him, and your reinforcements are also slower. His reinforcements will pop up and they'll appear basically at the hatcheries, all at his hatcheries. It'll be nice and quick for him to reinforce, where yours have to slow travel from one side of the map to the other. So Roach speed in those situations helps a lot, but it also helps in a situation like this where you just want to go home with what you have instead of feeling like you've being forced to sacrifice it. In that instance though, I feel like a lot of the decision making you're having is actually quite good for gold. The bile use is really good for gold. It's probably good for diamond. We just need to eke out more drones in the early game and in the mid game, and I think you'll be in a really sweet spot here. This attack was absolutely killer, right? And so again, what we could have done, we can obviously come up and bile the tanks, right? After the tanks are removed, then we can commit to this attack. And when we commit to this attack, what I mean is you can actually come up here, put a couple of biles here, and force him back. If he stands in them and he loses his marines to the biles, it's an easy hold, right? But if he does move back, then he has to re-engage back into your army, which is already set up. It's already on the cliff. You have a good concave. Everything's working in your favor, and you even have Queens here to be healing as well, because this army, some of these Roaches and Ravagers are getting pretty roughed up. I think just a handful more transfuses earlier, and this little having these little roaches spaz out down here trying to get around the fight, but obviously wanting to go through here because it's the quickest gap. You've got them on move command as well. That's why. So if they're on attack command, they would have seen that there was an attack happening. Oh, wow, that's brutal, isn't it? That's the queen, yeah? Holy crap, that's the queen's head. I'm not used to having my graphics up this high. So yeah, just a couple of things, like getting the bars on the tanks early, using that to disengage. Because again, where he was, he's not threatening anything with these siege tanks. They threaten this, but you don't really need this base half as much as he thinks you need it, because you already have this and you have this base as well, right? So if Terran's sieging up in a position that's not threatening, feel free to throw your biles down, absolutely wallop the siege tanks, and then come back for another fight with everything. If you haven't got anything else to do in the fight, then absolutely please do focus on just having the queen selected. You can even like grab them. What I like to do is just like grab them and then F2, shift F2, and then I'll grab everything that's in my army together. The queens are usually the first unit, and then I can just like transfuse at will and also keep an eye on everything and make sure everything keeps shuffling into the army. So what I'm wondering here... Oh, they were move commanded for a split second. I was wondering if they were rallied down there. So if this cleanup had gone a little bit better, you probably would have been looking at like 130 supply to 100 of the Terrans, and then we're in a pretty good spot to start pushing him back on his base. Because look, he literally has like, it's a lot of Marines, but it's just like a tank and a lot of Marines. When he starts pumping out all these... when he starts pumping out all these, it's dangerous, right? That's a lot of Marines he's pumping out like every second. Every minute. So yeah, absolutely, please do get into learning some drone window stuff. I think, yeah, a lot of your little small decision making mid-game was really good. This was painful, right? Because we don't know where his army is. We can't afford to have our lumbering, slow army. This is a defensive army, Roach Ravager, as far as you're concerned right now, because you cannot be on the map because you have no speed, have no vision. You can't afford to be on his side of the map, and your army is not big enough anyway that if he was entrenched here, your army isn't big enough to slam into it and take a good fight anyway. So I really don't think that it was a good idea to go into the map at all, and we probably should have stayed home. Stayed home because it can literally be this quick, where we just get stomped because we weren't at home when his army pops around. So we lose 2 hatcheries for it. Again, awesome bars. I love the bar work. It's a shame we couldn't land any in here. Yeah, we just don't have the damage to actually overwhelm anything that's in this army. And GG, we're done. So hopefully that helps. Fingers crossed that does help, because that's actually, for a gold level game, I feel like that's actually pretty good. Couple of things to work on, obviously, but we want to aim for when we get to the end of the game and we see our little worker graphs. What I used to always do is, like, at the end of the game, check your graphs. Have I got my... No, I don't want to look at that. I want to look at like a match history one. I want to look at a real game. I want to look at my worker graph. And then when the workers stop being made, I want my army graph to explode. 430. 430, boom. And until the army that I've generated here has done enough damage that I feel like I can go back to making workers again, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? Like, and vice versa. If you're going to make a ton of workers early on, when you start exploding into making army, you really need to explode into army. You need to be ready for it. You need to have real injects going. You need to not get supply blocked. All these things are going to delay you and cause you to get absolutely smashed. So just a really good idea to keep an eye on that graph at the end of the game and go, okay, if it wasn't a weird game with like one based or two based us or something like that, or proxied us, did we get to like 60 drones by like even 7 minutes at gold? 8 minutes would be fantastic. 60 drones, honestly, by 8 minutes, I think would do pretty well. Because as you get higher, that margin is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're going to need to be precise with when you decide to make drones and when you don't. And so it might just be small little victories you have, but you might go, okay, I can make 3 drones now because I did this, or I killed the Reaper, I can make some drones. You know what I mean? Or I didn't see him. I saw a Marine first instead of a Reaper from the racks. I can skip the first couple of links if I want to and make more drones. Blah blah blah. There's lots of little ways you can eke out small drone leads, but I think all in all, there was a lot of things in there that I was really happy with. But unfortunately, yeah, because you kept your income pretty much on par with his, as you can even see here, right? Where's the workers active? We'll get rid of that. Unspent collection rate. Here we go. See how the collection rate's almost dead even pretty much for the entire game, and your army values are pretty much matching the entire game, except for where you have a slightly worse army, a slightly worse fight, and yours drops off. No, his drops off here. That fight was bad for him. So you know what I'm saying? Like as you go up, you guys are matching pretty evenly because you're not using those drone windows, and then when it comes time to fight, you don't have enough to push him back confidently, because you haven't abused your greatest asset, which is literally drones. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, let me know.